It's car con carne. Let's eat in the car. It's car con carne. And now here's the star of our show, James Van Alstyne.
This right here is Car Con Carne, episode 974. Car Con Carne is a Q101 podcast, and I'm James Van Alstyne, Car Con Carne, sponsored by my friends at Easy Automation, easy-automation.net. Transform your living space with cutting-edge home automation. Experience seamless control over audio, video, lighting, climate, security, everything. Embrace the future of smart living. It's your home, your rules. Get a quote by visiting easy-automation.net or give my guy Dan a call. This is Dan's direct number. This is his personal cell phone. Call him. I insist. 630-730-3728. 630-730-3728. So, Ravenswood on tap. We are in Street Festival season. This is what we wait all winter for. Ravenswood on tap comes to Ravenswood and Berteau on Chicago's North Side on July 20th and 21st. Malt Row will be well represented with a list of participants that includes Begyle Brewing, Spiteful Brewing, and others. Cultivate by Forbidden Root, Demo Brewing Company, Dovetail Brewery, Acre Beer Company, Hop Butcher, easy for me to say, Hop Butcher for the world, was Brewing, and KOVAL Distillery. In the car, joining me for a preview of this year's event, Gene Wagendorf III. It's Wagendorf, right?
That's correct, yeah.
Not Wagendorf.
Wagendorf.
Yeah, this is why I ask. Associate Director of the Greater Ravenswood Chamber of Commerce. In the back seat, this is a superpower summit. This is a round table in my car. I have Kevin Cary. He is the owner of Begyle Brewing. And Chris Schroeder, who's the manager of Spiteful Brewing. Everybody, thanks for doing this. We're doing this on a Monday night. This is
Thanks for having us. Yeah, thanks for having us.
Let's start with Malt Row, because we're talking about breweries, we're talking about distilleries, we're talking about booze in Chicago. What is Malt Row? For those maybe who aren't Northsiders.
So Malt Row is a community of mostly breweries, craft beer professionals, and craft spirits professionals who do business along Ravenswood Avenue in the Ravenswood and Bowmanville neighborhoods. So we've got an incredible
You've answered this question before.
I have.
You've got that down.
It is the thing people ask us most often about in the neighborhood. When people are looking to travel or spend a weekend outside of their neighborhood and in Ravenswood, Malt Row is these days at the top of their list for how to spend that time.
And yeah, I mean, all these breweries are right on top of each other. It's a wonderful neighborhood.
Yeah, you've got about 9 of them in a roughly 1.5 mile, 2 mile radius. So if you're really ambitious on a Saturday and you get started early, you can make the trip from the north end to the south end and kind of drink your way through the neighborhood. And there's a couple of spots on that route, including Cultivate by Forbidden Root, where you can grab some food so that you can survive that trip.
Yeah, Bowmanville's a little bit, I mean, we're sensible shoes if you're going to make the trip.
Yeah, and, don't do it on a 100-degree day, but There are plenty of great spring and summer days or fall days to make that trip, and we're also spoiled with public transportation in the neighborhood, so you can get to either end of Malt Row using the Brown Line, using the Metra, or Diffie bikes are really popular up this way.
So the website where we can find out more about the event is
RavenswoodChicago.org.
Thank you. I have so many notes here. But in addition to all these fine breweries, craft distilleries, music is such a big part of this. And I'm looking over the list of this year's event. I'm seeing familiar faces, artists who've been on this podcast, artists like White Rabbit Object, Kill Scenes, Guardrail, Madam Reaper and the Gentleman's Club. I mean, this is a spectacular music event.
We really love showing off our local musical talent. One of the things we've tried to do at all of our events in Ravenswood is support local independent bands, and there are few things better in a Chicago summer day than taking in some local music while drinking a local beer, and so we really like to double up on the local for this event and invite people to explore the best of what the city's music scene has to offer while they're taking in the best of what its craft beer and beverage scene has to offer.
And like I was saying, we wait all winter long. This is why we endure the winters in Chicago. It's for street festival season. It's for events like this, so I can have a Spiteful beer or a Begyle beer on the street in the sun while watching Kill Scenes, who probably, my only complaint with the entire event, Kill Scenes should probably play after the sun goes down. I know they're not going to do it, but that's a band that should be seen in darkness.
I agree. I think we got a couple of bands like that on the lineup, and if I go back through my email thread booking some of the talent, there are a handful of requests for later time slots every year.
Of course.
And so that's becoming a bigger problem. You might have to look at doing a nighttime festival at some point.
So, again, in the backseat, Kevin Cary from Begyle, Chris Schroeder from Spiteful. Why have craft breweries been so successful? Why has craft brewing exploded in the past 15 years? What do you attribute that to?
That's a great question. I think ultimately, at least from where we're sitting, just across the street from our brewery, I think it's the sense of community that you can build around a tap room specifically. So both Spiteful and Begyle have tap rooms where customers can come and visit and see. There's not too many places or manufacturing companies where I can go in and buy the widget that they make. So it is a very unique business. We straddle both hospitality and manufacturing, and so there's just that relationship that you can build. We set out to be what we call ourselves a community supported brewery, and so we didn't even really know what we were kind of wanting to be at that time. We wanted to be in the middle of a neighborhood like this one, where we could connect directly with our customers. And over the last 12 years. We've been able to do that, and it's sort of evolved on its own, and I think it is that personal experience. You get to know the staff. You get to know our head brewer, Liz, has been with us for 11 years. So it's just cool to see these businesses grow. They become families, like small business. I think a lot of people don't realize, but a small business is the more successful ones operate like a family. You're in the trenches. It's not as it's glamorous at times, and it is the opposite of glamorous at times. So, So both on the customer side, they come in and they get to have these experiences. They get to know your staff, enjoy the product, I think the idea of building on community and really we have events. We participate in the chamber events, but we also have our own events throughout the year that give us that platform to connect directly with folks, and I think like I said, going back to the original widget reference, it's very unique for us to be able to make it in the back and then serve it in the front.
It's like going to Willy Wonka's factory.
Just less weird.
Chris,
or as weird, I don't know.
Less disappearing children.
That's true.
What do you think, Chris?
Pretty much everything Kevin said. We strive to be the neighborhood's watering hole, if you will. It's fun to see, since I've kind of taken over, been at Spiteful, once the tap room opened up in 2017. We've kind of see the community grow, and people in our neighborhood were still finding out about us last week. So we're still finding people who don't know that we're even in the neighborhood, who've been living there for like 5-10 years. So continuing to grow that customer base and stuff like that, and they love coming in and making friends with our staff and kind of having connections. We've each one of our staff has different interests that is able to kind of connect with other people in the community, and so people love coming into our spot where and that's kind of what kind of craft beer I think does, is just want to have their favorite beer, and they want to see when their favorite beer is going to come back on tap, and why it's not on tap right now, and what they're mad that it's so popular and it goes, it kicks, fast or something like that. And they just want to be part of it. They feel like it's part of their, it's the Cheers effect, kind of, if you will. Like
100%.
Everyone knows your name and you love to go in there, and you kind of I've seen many of our customers have families started and grow, and now I've seen
probably
5-year-olds and
probably some of that.
Yeah. I have to card them still, but I know that they're there. But that's the really cool part about the tap room, especially in this Chicago here. You just could see everybody stay around and kind of grow with them, so it's great.
Back in during the pandemic, I talked to Jason Klein from Spiteful, and I asked him something at the time along the lines of, is this a competitive business? I'm looking at 2 brewery people next to me. I'm looking at an event that is all these breweries and distilleries lined up next to one another in the middle of July. I mean, I'm answering my own question here, but it's not that competitive. I mean, it seems like you're all dipping into the same well.
I think it feels probably, at least I don't see this side too much, but more competitive outside. But in terms of tap rooms, like, we brew different beers. You can go have a different experience at each brewery. So, like, you're going to get the Begyle experience at Begyle. You're going to get the Spiteful experience at Begyle, or at Spiteful. And those are both great experiences. You're not going to have, it's not a one-to-one, like I can either do Begyle or Spiteful or any of the other great brewers we have on the list. I frequent a lot of the breweries in Malt Row just because I enjoy going there and seeing them all. So from my standpoint, I like going to each room and seeing all the different staff in each place and have friends in each place. So
is the competition really the shelf space at retail?
I was just going to say probably the more competitive aspects you start to see is at the grocery stores and placements, and both for Spiteful and Begyle, we've been around long enough that we do have some of those long-standing relationships. But sometimes the bigger beer companies can come in and change things on a dime. So it's, our size of a brewery is always fighting for attention and trying to maintain those presence on the shelf. But at the end of the day, having a brick and mortar tap room in a tourist destination, which is Malt Row has become, here on the north side, it helps us to combat that. It makes us competitive. It helps us tell a story. It says, I have a place where buyers can come visit. And really make an impact versus some sort of PowerPoint presentation or a much larger company that has a lot of marketing dollars. So it allows us to be a little bit more scrappy but yeah. So I would say to your point, definitely more competitive in retail. But then when it comes to the approachable nature that our tap rooms put forth, it's. There is definitely, just like the restaurant scene, there are a definite number of diners. So obviously there's a certain amount that the city can sustain.
Right.
And I think we're kind of seeing that now where there have been some closures, COVID or otherwise. But you start to see, the breweries that really focus in on hospitality and do hospitality well, I think are kind of at that point where it's more about just bringing more people in than trying to compete for somebody else's customer.
That makes perfect sense. And one thing I keep coming back to, and it's clear to me when I talk to brewery owners, the craft brewing business is so much like the independent music business. The hustle, the marketing, the building community, I see so much overlap. So when I think of a festival like this, independent musicians from Chicago, independent breweries, it all clicks for me.
Well, we want to blend those things more, and that's one of the reasons that we've tried to spotlight music increasingly at this festival, is to really sort of cross-pollinate those two audiences. There are incredible street festivals that showcase great bands all over the city and from across the city, but you go to those festivals and you're drinking Modelo or Coors Light or Miller Lite, which doesn't really fit with that same aesthetic that you just described that exists within the local music scene. And so to be able to get people to come out to Ravenswood and check out French Police while drinking a Half Acre beer or Begyle or Spiteful beer, as opposed to, grabbing whatever the
macro brew.
Yeah, the macro brew special at your venue of choice is. This is a way to change people's habits, turn them on to that community that exists at the breweries that they might not have known shares so much with the music scene.
Now, when I go to events in Chicago, I like paying $18 for a beer. Will I get to do that here?
You will not.
Oh, damn.
You'll pay about $10 less than that per beer, which is outrageous. For the beer we're serving, which is all produced within a mile and a half of the festival. You're going to be getting that cheaper than you get your Coors and your Modelos at most other events, and in some cases, you might even be getting that beer for a little bit cheaper than you would get it at the tap room nearby.
Amazing. This is a chance. I mean, for people who are interested or even passively interested, like a chance to basically go around the world, like sample everybody, come both days.
Yeah, and I think the brewers know that too, so they typically will bring a lineup of beers that is diverse. There will be beers of all styles there. There will be seltzers there. We've also not really mentioned KOVAL Distillery very much. They are the first legal post-prohibition distillery in Chicago. They're just about a half block from here, and we have them out on the street doing cocktails for the weekend as well.
They're amazing. I mean, last time I did a KOVAL interview is during the pandemic, and they were making hand sanitizer. Different time 4 years ago.
Not as tasty.
Definitely not as tasty.
Still works though.
Let me blast through the music acts real quick. It's just awesome. Again, Saturday, July 20th, Sunday, July 21st. On the 20th, French Police. You mentioned Serengeti. Is it Bnny or Bnny?
Bnny, I believe.
Damn it. Bnny. No Men, Kill Scenes, The Microphone Misfitz. That's Misfitz with a Z. Guardrail, Rosa, Noir, One for the Ditch. Fun Irish. That's a drinking band right there.
Yeah, you were off pod talking about a great rent deal that you got. The first time we worked with One for the Ditch, we had to remind them that we could pay them more, that just because it was a beer festival and half their songs are about beer doesn't mean that they had to cut us a discount. Those guys are wonderful.
They are wonderful. Lawrence Tome, that's all July 20th. July 21st, She's Crafty, the all-female Beastie Boys tribute group.
They headlined last year, and that is the most people I've seen dancing on the street in Ravenswood, and so we're very excited.
What a great band name for a cover band of. Yeah, that's fantastic.
At a craft beer festival.
Yes. Punked, White Rabbit Object, the aforementioned White Rabbit Object. Madam Reaper of the Gentleman's Club, Lydia Cash and Hody Snitch. That right there is a festival.
Genre-wise, a little all over the place, but we're hoping that people enjoy it.
That's the way I consume music. I go to so many shows, especially with like 2 or 3 opening bands, and all the bands are same genre, same style. By the time you get to the headliner, you're kind of fatigued. Like, I like that diversity that kind of bounces around.
Well, then you're going to want to come on Saturday for the back-to-back of No Men and Bnny, because that is about as disparate as it gets. No Men is an incredible 3-piece garage punk band that I think caused a storm last year on Saturday, and they're going to be followed by maybe the most chill band we've ever booked.
And Kill Scenes is like this very atmospheric, moody art goth pop band.
Yeah, I don't think that they enjoy playing in the sun too much, but they were phenomenal the last couple times we've had them out.
So what a lineup. And as we're talking about the beer, let's dive in a little bit. Can we dive in a little bit to Spiteful and Begyle?
Sure.
I should mention websites. Begyle is beguilebrewing.com. Spiteful is spitefulbrewing.com. I guess you'd expect all that. Spiteful is in Bowmanville.
Correct.
Around the corner from the place I got my scooter at.
There you go.
For me, it always comes back to the lager. Mm-hmm. I'm in my crushable beer phase right now. and that's it. The approachable 4.7 lager.
Lager's great. I also like our Radler, which is based on our lager, and then we add some grapefruit puree. So it brings down to 2.7% and very crushable. And if you don't like that ABV, you can always add a little something from KOVAL, maybe to spice it up a little bit if you'd like.
And then the IPA. I mean, I see people drinking that all the time.
We're flagship beer. Excited to have that. I think that's going to be one of the things we're pouring at Ravenswood on tap. So excited to have that one. Been around for a long time.
All right, and then Begyle, 1800 West Kyler. We're right across the street, as mentioned. The community-supported brewery. Speaking of crushable beers, I'm in that phase. Blinded by the Light?
Yes. 4.6% American Light Lager. That was a new beer that we put out last year when Bruce Springsteen was in town.
Let's talk about the music aspect of what you do.
We've got a few,
Can't Find a Bitter Man.
Yep.
I mean,
yep. That was Pearl Jam. If people don't know.
Your IPA is Float On.
Yep.
I love that. And then, of course, Freebird.
Freebird. Yeah. Last week was Freebird Appreciation Week. So we leaned into it a little bit and gave it 7 days of celebration. But Freebird American Pale Ale, 5.6%, easy drinkable, crushable summer good pale ale.
Do I need to hook you up with the Ravinia people for when Skinnerd comes?
Is it? He is coming.
Skinnerd's in September with ZZ Top. I mean,
yeah, we're heading there next weekend for another event, but not next weekend. No, this weekend.
I was just there for the Beach Boys.
I love Ravinia. It's amazing.
It totally is. All right, so what are you pouring for Begyle at the event?
So at the fest, we will most likely have Blinded by the Light, our American Light Lager. That is a beer that we created last summer. Just to try and ride the crushable phase that we're in right now. I don't think I'm leaving it. You're not alone. Yeah. we both had one before we jumped into your car.
I noticed that they went away. They disappeared
very quickly.
Very quickly. Yeah. So we definitely, our menu skews a little bit lighter, a little bit more easy drinking. We do like to pepper in some of the stronger beers, so we'll have a little bit of both. We'll definitely be featuring that one. It's a special release. I think actually one of the only places it'll be poured outside the brewery this summer is at Ravenswood on Tap, so a good place to try it. And then we'll showcase our American Blonde Ale, Begyle Blonde. That's the beer that we're sort of out, talking about shelf competition. That's the one you'll find at all the grocery stores throughout Chicagoland. It's the one that helps us pay the bills. It's a workhorse. But, so we'll be keeping it light. We might slide in an IPA. Still need to make that final decision. But Float On is a music reference, so if we have enough, maybe we just do that.
So talk a little bit, both of you, about trends. I mean, to some extent, you're following your vision and what you think you should be making, but certainly the market drives some of what you do. Are we still in an IPA era? Is other stuff?
So I think IPAs will always be king in a way. The hazy IPA came along and distracted people for a minute. We were a little late to the game, the hazy IPA game, but we do make one now year-round. But what we're seeing now is we started out at a time, actually, so Spiteful and Begyle started probably within months of each other in 2012. We started out brewing classic styles, and what I think we're starting to see now is easy drinking classic styles are popular again. So we've stepped out and dabbled in some of the trends, but we've focused on blonde ale, pale ale, American IPA. So our classic American IPA is seeing sort of a renaissance now that people are starting to move away from hazy. Hazy will still be a thing, it's not going anywhere.
Right.
We sell a lot of hazy IPA, but we're starting to see a more appreciation for easy drinking and classic styles, which is something that we kind of always dug in on, and we always wanted to have approachable. You come in, we have 16 different lines. You're generally not going to see duplicates. We might have 2 or 3 IPAs on at a time, and that's the most you're going to see. But we try to keep it to 1, maybe 2 of a style at a time, and really have all the way from light to dark beers.
And how about Spiteful?
We started off as a IPA heavy brewery before we had the tap room, and then once the tap room and a larger brewing space happened, we were able to dabble our feet into the lager game. In the tap room, we've seen way more lagers. We've done now 8 or 9 different classic lager styles, Vienna lager. We've done a Helles. Our German Pilsner is really tasty. Been a staple in the tap room for a long time. So we see a lot more people kind of going more the lighter, easier, more ABV driven. So we have a light IPA called Spite Light, 4%, easy drinking. So that's usually pretty popular in tap room, especially for maybe that last beer before you leave,
or your basic day drinking.
First one, day drinking.
But it's a porch beer, a garage beer.
And then back to the music thing, Working for the Weekend is one of our best sellers, double IPA, 7.9%, and we can't really kind of put a finger on it, but it's a monster. It keeps on going. So people don't really see the 8% on that one, and they just keep drinking it, which is great. But then one of our best summer beers is Bleacher Bum. It's a blonde ale with peach. Not to take too much away from the Begyle blonde, but
love a good blonde.
It's a blonde ale with peach. It's pretty approachable. It's not overly sweet. I believe that's something else that we'll be able to find at Ravenswood on tap in a couple weeks. And that's just kind of a baseball themed beer, so it's around for baseball season. I just had a couple at Wrigley Field the other day, so that was awesome to have. It made the game go a little bit better than they've been playing lately. But it has kind of strayed a little bit away from IPAs and a little more toward classic styles of lagers. And right now we have 2 wheat beers on, a Hefeweizen and a Belgian wheat beer. So our IPA list of our tap list is kind of small right now, which is good because I like having kind of like Kevin said, I like having diversity. We still have a stout and an imperial stout on tap right now, so we don't really change too much. We always either have a dark beer or 2 on tap all summer long, and that's been since we have the tap room. It's just always trying to have diversity of people, because there's people who sit outside in 100 degrees and drink a porter or an 8% stout, and then they'll love it.
So, Gene, ravenswoodchicago.org. The event's happening on the 20th and 21st of July. Give us the pitch. Give us the elevator pitch for the Ravenswood on Tap event.
So it's 2 days of some of the best beers that Malt Row breweries have to offer. Some amazing cocktails from KOVAL Distillery. The music lineup that you've mentioned already. And then on top of that, this is, I think, still the only street festival in Chicago where you can do axe throwing. The city said yes to that the same year they said yes to cocktails on the street, which is amazing.
We buried the lead. There's axe throwing.
There's axe throwing.
I failed the audience.
We've got this incredible mobile axe throwing rig that has come out to On Tap the last couple of years, and so you can either through the pre-sale bundles that we have available purchase your beer tickets and your axe throwing tickets ahead of time at a discount, or you can purchase them on site. And then we've got axe throwing, lawn games, aerial demos. We'll have combat demos this year, so both swordplay demos and Taekwondo demos.
This is kind of like going to the Ren Fair.
A little bit. No costumes required, though. If people want to dress up, I'm curious to see what they come out in.
Yeah.
Turkey legs?
No turkey legs, and probably we won't be letting people in with their own swords. So please leave those at home. But we will have the folks from Forteza Fitness, which is right over at Ravenswood and Montrose, and they are a gym dedicated to the art of swordplay. And so they'll have knights out there in armor, I believe, between bands in some instances, doing some swordplay demos. And then they'll have a booth where you can go talk to them about how you can get your hands on a sword yourself or take advantage of their archery range.
Amazing.
We couldn't get the okay for bow and arrow this year. We couldn't do archery on site, but we did ask.
Again, this is why we live through Chicago winters, for exactly what you described. Their beers, knights in shining armor with swords, hatchet throwing, spirits,
and shaded seating, which is the other big upgrade we made this year. We got some more tents. I know last year between rain and sun, there were folks just looking for some respite. A lot of them found it at the tap rooms here across the street, but we're going to try to keep them at the event a little bit longer. So there should be plenty of places to sit, plenty of places to play, and there'll be a lot of good beer.
And a lot of good bands, from the Diet Punk of Guardrail on through everything else.
Yep.
I love it. Guys, thank you for jumping in the car. We kind of pieced this together at the last minute. I'm really glad we could all come together and talk about what's going to be an amazing street festival.
Thank you. Please do come out, and we're up for this anytime.
Really?
Anytime.